At 9:25 in the morning, my daughter Brandy and I just got done eating breakfast and walked outside to check on the progress of two construction workers working on the gutter of my home. So we walked out and we're standing on the north side of the home looking up towards the gutter, talking to construction workers, and Brandy started saying, "Daddy, there's something up in the sky." Didn't pay attention to her. "Daddy, there's something up in the sky again." I looked up, I said, "It's just the sun," because 9:25 in the morning, we were on the north side of the house, and we just had the sun blocked off with the gutter. So if we came out from the gutter at all, we were blinded by the sun. And again, "Daddy, there's something up in the sky right there," and pointed it out to me. I looked up and I seen a very intense white glimmering, like just intensely lit a white tube of light.
Tim ran into the house. He remembered he had a video camera inside. He decided to get it. Tim had no idea at this point that by recording this sighting, it would change his life forever.
A spaceship grow bigger like that? Huh? Dad, can a spaceship grow bigger like that? Huh? It could. Take the thing off of you, Dad.
Go get the binoculars. Oh, the more you look at it, it's just amazing. Go, where's your spotting scope at, Dad? When we got the binoculars on, a lot of time it turned into like we're looking into a fog bank or something like that, and it appeared it could be a wheel with an inner ball inside, with the wheel with the lights rotating around at a 360-degree wheel.
Orange! Jesus, it's orange. Yep, there's something going around it. Something going around it. So can I take this on you? Thanks, dude.
There's three of us, me, Brandy, and my dad. All had binoculars on it during this time frame too, during my pausing and filming. And through binoculars, we could clearly see a double row of rectangular windows on it, going from a light sequence of a red to a pale green to a red across the craft. It appeared, to go across and almost like a wheel on a car or something that would go forward and back, an osculating effect. The skin of the craft, which that was the only skin, was in between the windows, was equal to the height, about half the height of one of the row of windows, and so there was this skin between the windows, but the craft itself was all lights, except for that, the double row of lights were continuous with no structure in between each light. It was a solid light around it. house where the sun's not in your eyes. Close to the edge of the house. Huh? There ain't no little airplane that moves 5 miles in 2 seconds.
I know, that's what I mean.
Or it's moved more than 5 miles. It moved over that part of the sky there. It probably moved 500. It probably moved 100 miles in a matter of a second or two. Through all the telephone calls, I made the 7 telephone calls to the sheriff's department, the radio station, twice to the restaurant. Was able to get one witness, a cook, to witness on the north side of the restaurant at the same time. I failed to say that, I said it was up by the sun. I failed to tell everybody that you need to block out the sun. It's just north and west of the sun. And so it pretty much stayed in that, it did stay in that same area the whole time we viewed it. When the craft left the area, I was on the phone with Peter Davenport, National UFO Reporting Center. I went down to the local paper and showed them, and then they interviewed me, and that made the front page headlines the following day. I went down to the local radio station, and they put it on the AP Newswire, and all the Denver media, CBS, NBC, and ABC, contacted me the following day, and all came up and did stories on it with Channel 4, CBS, doing follow-up stories on the lab analysis and testimony of witnesses and documentation on the craft. I believe it was about a mile long. I stated in the paper the following day that if it would have landed, it would have took out Salida, at least the business district, which is about 16 blocks. So my estimates was scanning it with the binoculars. It was like I actually was scanning it. It wasn't like I guess it was in the whole field of view, but it was I was scanning with binoculars, and it was incredible. The length, I would say, I still think it was about a mile long. That's my belief. We've got this craft, films and photographs of it around the world, and some spectacular pictures taken in 1998 in Monterrey, Mexico, by a prominent engineer down there. And they especially the big-time ufologist, failed to report. This seems like the big story. We've got a major thing going on here. The cigar reports, up until about 3 months ago, we were getting almost a report every week from somewhere throughout the world, same description craft. With all this correlation we got, we're trying to get this out to the public, and that's what I've been doing at my restaurant, E.T.s Landing. The restaurant format is pictures from Hubble, UFO art, and actual UFO pictures. It's basically an educational format for the public to heighten the UFO awareness to the general public. Tom King from Phoenix, an avid ufologist, got a hold of me back in '95, and I got him to start filming the solar, using the solar technique down there, and not before too long he was filming UFOs all over Phoenix.
It was just another ordinary day in Salida, Colorado. Tim Edwards' restaurant was closed for the afternoon, and he was working on his new home with his 6-year-old daughter, Brandy. And that's when this ordinary Sunday became extraordinary.
We were probably out here a couple of minutes. Brandy started saying, Daddy, there's something up in the sky. I didn't pay attention to her. Again, she said, Daddy, there's something up in the sky. and I still am paying attention to her. And finally, he says, "Daddy, there's something in the sky." I looked up, and the sun was just on this side of the gutter here, August 27th, so we were protected from the sun here.
This is what Tim saw. You're watching the actual videotape he recorded that day.
Dad, can a spaceship grow bigger like that? Huh? It could.
Tim taped the object for more than an hour. His father also saw it.
I says, "My gosh, what is that thing?" And to me it appeared as a long pencil-like aluminum foil triangle object in the sky, moving erratic, but staying just north and west of the sun.
Salida means gateway. Indian legend has it that this area was a window to other worlds. In recent years, ufologists have echoed those sentiments, saying in essence that Salida is a stargate, a gateway for beings from other worlds.
We've seen 3 lights over here.
Since Tim's sighting, UFO watchers have converged on this tiny town. They are especially excited for a couple of reasons.
Number one, it happened during the day, and we just don't have that many sightings that are captured on tape during the day. Number two, it's a large cylindrical or cigar-shaped object, and there's not a lot of those seen, and there's not a lot of video footage of those available.
Similar sightings were reported in Sacramento on August 21st, in Grand Junction, Colorado, the morning of Tim's sighting, and in Boulder, Colorado, on August 27th and 28th, by 7 different witnesses. All described what they say was a cylindrical-shaped craft. What's that? We see kind of a dark...
That's the gutter of the house, because Tim is standing next to the house, looking up in the sky, and that's the gutter.
The tape has been sent to several labs around the country, including Village Labs in Tempe. That's where computer scientist Jim Delatoso spent more than a month going over the video, frame by frame.
What we can do is analyze the edges of that object and the edges of that object. This is a very large object, about a mile long. It's very high altitude, 70 or 80,000 feet.
Delatoso believes what Edwards saw is a UFO. As for Tim Edwards, he says he doesn't need a high-tech lab to confirm what he saw is real. He's known it since that August afternoon when he first looked up into the sky.
I am 100% convinced this is a craft from another world. There's no doubt in my mind, and this will come out in the lab, no doubt.
It is May 24th, and we're here with Tim Edwards. Tim is a photographer he's been working in photography. He's from Salida, Colorado. Is that right? And you've been doing some very interesting shots regarding the corona of the sun and anomalies that seem to be associated with the sun. So Tim, what I'd like you to do is maybe give us some background on how you got started with this.
I got started back August 27th. My daughter Brandy, my 6-year-old daughter Brandy, and I walked outside to check on the progress of 2 contractors working on the gutter of my house. We walked out, and we're standing underneath the eave of the house, and Brandy had said she looked up in the sky today to see if it was going to rain, because we were going to go camping that night. And she started telling me, "Daddy, there's something up in the sky." And I didn't pay any attention at first, and again, "Daddy, there's something up in the sky." So I looked up, and I says, "No, hon, it's just the sun." And again, she said, "No, Daddy, there's something up in the sky right there." She pointed up, and I looked up and seen this wide slice of light, about as wide as a full moon, dancing and darting around extreme altitude. Right before I started filming, I believe a commercial airliner flew right underneath it from west to east, and I'm sure they would have never seen it because they would have been blinded by the rays of the sun. We happened to be standing in the right place at the right time because to be able to see the object that was up there, you had to have, it was by the sun, so you had to have the sun blocked out, or no, it was there and blocked the sun out. This is why I had a hard time getting a lot more witnesses had 6 outgoing phone calls to the radio. They announced it on the air, but I failed to say, you need to block out the sun to see the thing.
Did you, your daughter was the first one to spot this. Just, can you tell us basically what it looked like?
All 3 of us looked at binoculars. I paused the camera 9 times. Bruce Maccabee states in his report during filming, the craft was up in the sky an hour and 15 minutes. So when we got binoculars on the thing, the image was so much clearer. Even in the video, we could see actual structure. We could see a double row of rectangular windows, an upper row and a lower row, and a lighting sequence of red to a pale green to a red across the craft. Then we come back across, it appeared to be revolving for a gyro scope motion or whatever, go one way and rotate the other way. And when we got the binoculars on it too, the image, what we were seeing with our naked eye, it appeared as a slight arc or a slight boomerang at times, and very intense white light, glimmering and very intense light. But when you got the binoculars on the thing, the lighting turned into a soft red and a pale green, and the image turned into a big cigar. Or at the time I didn't even know anything about UFOs, so I thought we're just looking at the side of a disc. But through my research and all the other reportings, there's no doubt in my mind it was the cylinder. At the same time, when we had the binoculars on the thing, you could see the massive size on it. I stated in the local paper the next day, if the thing would have landed, it would have took out Salida. It was that huge. I'm not sure, but when I was looking at binoculars, I'm legally blind on my left eye. It appears, I swear I had to scan the craft because I didn't have the whole image of the craft in the field. I had to scan it. It was that massive. The airliner that flew underneath it, that's how I got an altitude reference on it, that it appeared to be at least 2 or 3 times higher than the airliner, so it would have been flying around 30,000 feet. So the lab estimates have came back between about 60 and 90,000 feet on altitude.
You don't know exactly how, you don't know how big it was then exactly?
No, I couldn't. Just with the lab report, so we've got estimates from 700 feet up to a mile across. Bruce Maccabee is a minimum at 700 feet.
Were there other people in Salida after you called the radio stations? No, were there other people seeing this object?
We had 6 people at the house, observed at the house. My dad, Brandy, Lorraine, my other daughter, and the 2 construction workers. And I was able to get one cook at my restaurant was able to see it. It was Sunday morning, so the restaurant was totally swamped, and so they didn't really get a chance to go outside and look for it. And then again, you had to just barely block out the sun, which is kind of interesting. That this craft too was like our subsequent filming, was hiding in the rays of the sun. It was staying kind of hidden up there at the same time. I'm convinced that it was aware of our presence. It wanted to be filmed and photographed, and I've stated since day one it was a major sign to the world, and it was sending. It was a major message it was sending out to the world, and hopefully the labs, some of the lighting sequence and stuff like that, maybe there's something they can extract from that, and the movements in the sky. We first spotted it about 20 degrees west of the sun. From that position, it would dance and dart out 30 degrees west of that position, and move 20 degrees, approximately 20 degrees north or south of the axis of the sun. But it always stayed in that same area, like it knew exactly where to stay, so there wasn't a mass sighting. The movements were fluent, real rapid. From side to side, but when it advanced with the naked eye, it appeared it was stepping across the sky like a frame advance, like a shh, but at tremendous speed. almost like it was walking across the sky. Another thing we observed too, the sky was a crystal blue color and everything like that, but the sky around the craft, when viewed with the naked eye, was darker, or like a black, like an envelope or something surrounding the craft itself. There's evidence of this, and it's still taken off the video of this corona up here, which the lab, a couple labs, village labs, believe that this could be evidence of an envelope or field around the craft, that it's in its own space or own environment.
So you think that corona could be part of an energy field in order for the craft to maybe make movements that physically seem to be impossible? Do you think that
Yes,
that could be part of it?
Yeah, there's no doubt the craft was anti-gravity and anti-G-force. Jim Delatosa has estimated the speeds to be excess of 10,000 mile an hour, in other words 0 to 10,000 mile an hour, and a complete stop again quarter to half a second. So the craft was defying all laws of physics as we know it.
Who is Jim Delatosa?
Jim Delatosa was the president and founder of Village Labs, and a noted ufologist who has studied UFO photography, I believe, for about the last 20 years, has been used as an expert analysis for numerous shows, and I think even agencies, space agencies, whatever, Martin Marietta, this and that, UFO reports to document if it's a hoax or if it's a real thing. Jim has stated that the main craft on a Fuse newscast was definitely alien. It's definitely not one of ours. And we've got Whitley Strieber behind us now too on this.
Where is Village Labs?
Village Labs is in Tempe, Arizona, in the Phoenix area.
Where is Salida?
Salida, Colorado is 140 miles southwest of Denver. We're in the south central part of the state. We're a 7,000 foot high valley, with the next valley north of the San Luis Valley, which is about 8,500 feet. San Luis Valley, only about 6 miles north of it. This is the valley where the cattle mutilation started about 30 years ago with Snippy the horse, and there's been tremendous UFO activity off and on down there. On November 12th, we went down to Alamosa, Colorado, to eat at a Mexican restaurant, and then sunset, my wife and Lorraine seen a slice of light to the ridges to the west, which are 40 miles to the west. We were by Sand Dunes National Monument. Had burned up my first camera, so we just had a still camera with us, a cheap camera with no zoom, and we got the binoculars on this object, and we seen a big white cigar. I don't think it was the same craft again because we didn't see no windows or anything like that. Anyway, this picture here was taken. The ridges are 40 miles away, and it appeared the craft was right above the ridges. It was there for a half an hour. We took pictures from 2 different locations, and at the same time, there was jet traffic going back and forth by this thing about 3 or 4 miles out. This was right in the area. I believe this is Greeny Mountain right here, site of the NORAD hotspot that was reported in January of 94, 95. Anyway, it was on the same sighting show as the main craft. The story behind that. Another video of globes was taken by this mountain a couple months ago too. So there's been tremendous reports and activity in the San Luis Valley. It appears that it's not just in the San Luis Valley, it's moved northward now, the activity, because we had tremendous, basically a flap in the Salida area that started September 25th when our FM transmitter went out and continued through November. And this was the same as a nationwide flap that began last July through December. Peter Davenport, National UFO Reporting Center, was swamped with reports throughout the United States in that time frame.
So you don't necessarily think this is only happening in Salida or in Phoenix, that possibly this is happening in other places, this phenomenon?
This is very widespread. It's worldwide. Mexico continues to be very active. I know overseas, Scotland, they've been having flaps, a lot of different countries. Virginia was on a newscast last week, last 2 Fridays ago, and they reported, they called the National UFO Reporting Center, and they said they've been getting a lot of reports in Virginia. So there's another escalation of reports happening right now as we speak. So we're getting officially UFO season, I've heard, doesn't begin to April 15th, so we're just getting into season.
There is a season then. This seems to be associated with the sun somehow. Can you explain what the relationship is between the sun and these craft?
We're still studying. We believe something dimensional is going on up there. I stated the next day too that the main craft looks so surreal or unreal looking. With binoculars, I've seen so many pictures and videos since then. The main craft, or the cylinder, which has been reported throughout the United States the last 50 years, stills and videos going back 30, look, when compared to almost all the other pictures I've seen, makes everything else look totally antique. This is a very technologically advanced craft, and with the naked eye, it appeared it was just standing like a sore thumb up there. But when you got the binoculars on there, maybe it was the field around there or something, but it almost looked like it could be in another dimension. The first 4 minutes of the video too are out of focus when there's no logical explanation. It was, the camera was on autofocus, the thing was standing out like a sore thumb, but yet the probably the clearest video I got is the last couple seconds of filming. It's like almost like the craft was focusing the camera, or was in between dimensions at times. But like I say, when you were looking at it with the thing with binoculars, it was just so incredible looking. It was the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life, that's for sure. The sun phenomena too, that started September 25th, displays a lot of properties of the main craft too, in the fact that objects are coming in and disappearing right in the middle of the filming, in front of your eyes. And my belief is that the intensity of the sunlight allows this stuff to be visible up there, perhaps, or there's this being used as a vortex or something of that nature, because of the fact not everybody's going to see it up there. This stuff could go on forever, and if you didn't know what was going on, you'd never realize it's going on. One of the first things Whitley Strieber told me was that it's amazing how much this stuff, this is not the main craft, but the solar phenomena we've been filming looks like debris in the air. But upon closer examination and lab work and slow motion frame advance, Whitley has stated that movements are morphed, and the movements and the objects we are filming up there are defying all laws of explanation.
Okay, I want to shoot something here different. I want to try something
I rattle.
here. All right.
I get off the subject.
Well, I'll take whatever, I'll give you the whole complete tape, but then I'll take what I need off.
Yeah, we'll kind of, tighten it up.
I'd probably rather just get the one that was tightened up that you do for the show, or else if I could just get the show copy, or Tom will probably copy it, send me a copy too. Tom does that a lot. We trade each other's newscasts and stuff.
Mm-hmm. This is the introductor.
Tom's newscast was broadcast a lot nationally. Detroit, Michigan broadcast it. The Phoenix broadcast. So a lot of local UFO stories are going national now. Notice that.
One thing that I'd like to ask you about is do you know anything about the, there's been a lot of phenomena associated with the sun, like the blinking sun. Are you familiar with that? Can I ask you whether you think this is connected?
I mean, more nose room.
I know it's just
Maybe,
now,
yeah,
it's just
that
your
might be
opinion,
true.
but
Is the camera rolling now?
no.
No.
We're just, I'm just.
Oh, no, yeah. Out at Area
actually,
51,
it is gone.
when we were getting set up,
Doesn't matter.
Well, you don't have to answer this right now. I just
okay,
wanted
I
to.
just wanted to tell you, I seen a blinking sun
Oh, well,
out there.
good. Well, save it for the interview. Good.
Area 51, we had a blinking sun. I didn't get it on camera though. I flashed my camera in front of the sun,
I
hit the
don't know what
sunlight,
hot
and the
means.
sun started blinking. I says, Tom, the sun is blinking just like
No,
the
he's
blinking
right
sun,
there.
because I'd seen it.
He's not.
Just,
not
you see
too
right
long
here,
ago.
honey?
Okay,
A
then I'll
little
ask.
light kind of
See, I'm
reflecting
just
on
kind
it.
of like.
Yeah.
Because
That's
I
what you-
didn't
I'll
want you to say,
I'll
I
go
don't know
through the
anything about the
historical
blinking
part.
sun.
I'm trying to think what pictures Tom's got. What's them 51 pictures Tom's got?
I don't know.
It's got the cylinders and the objects up by the sun. I think they were taken over in Sweden or.
Oh, I haven't
I mean,
seen
it's
that.
like
It's relevant.
he's got them on the internet and stuff.
Okay, what I'd like to ask, well, go ahead and ask that question, but I want to ask a question.
All right, well, I'll just finish that
Sure.
up then. Tim, we've been talking about vehicles that seem to have some connection to the sun. We've also heard a lot about the blinking sun phenomenon. I wonder if you can give us any insights onto, do you think this is connected in some way?
I believe just about through my research and studying ufology, it seems like I did a crash course. Through my studies, I believe everything is pretty much true anymore. Ghost, everything, spiritualism, ufology, everything is related. That the blinking sun and the Virgin Mary, all these things that go clear through history, sun gods. There's been strange things clear back, I think, to the cavemen happening by the sun. So I don't think the sun phenomenon just started yesterday, but I believe there's a massive escalation that continues, and there's something going on there that we're able to, as Whitley Strieber says, and Tom Dongo, author researcher of Sidonia, it appears that you're able to film into a different dimension. The pictures, the paranormal ghost pictures they've been taken at the Sidonia Ranch, and they're so commonplace on your shows, and this and that are direct evidence that I think that there's parallel dimensions, perhaps parallel universes coexisting with us, and that these things are opening, something is opening up more, so we're able to film and photograph it. I think it's an indication that it's time for us to know a higher understanding, a higher consciousness level, a higher awareness. It's time for this planet to move to that higher plane and dimension. As you all know, we're on a downhill track, and I don't think there's anything going to reverse it. Cosmic awareness, I believe, will make this world a lot better place, and I think the government is changing their tune. I believe our story perhaps could even be part of the conditioning process. Our story has gotten out national from several broadcasts. The AP, Associated News Wire, picked it up the next day, August 28th, on the main craft. A lot of affiliates picked it up nationwide. There's been references by Tom Brokaw and Dan Rather on World News on UFOs and the presidential election. There's so many things going on now. The press in Phoenix doesn't do bad, but most of the press, TV has been hitting this like crazy with the alien commercials, documentaries, etc. The press hasn't touched it yet. There's a lot of factual stuff that can be confirmed out there, and so I believe it's just a matter of time. They're going to have to start touching it. There's going to be an amazing amount of sightings. The escalation is going to continue this year. I think there's going to be a lot of good videos this year too going on, and I've been saying I hope I'm right. I think there's going to be a mass sighting over a large U.S. city this year. I hope I'm right.
Okay, wait a minute.
Get off the track again.
You're doing fine.
You're doing fine.
It's not, other than maybe, I don't know if you were a church goer or traditional religion.
I've always believed in Jesus and God. I used to go to church every day when I was a little boy, but I believe, religion can be practiced just as well in the home. What type of person you are. I've always been an emotional person, and when I get into something, a hobby or anything like that, I've always went gung-ho on it. I'll do my homework, I'll do my research, and I kind of think I'm one of the chosen people to get this message out to the world, and I think that might then be a part of why I was picked out, because they knew I wouldn't give up on this. I would keep going after it. Most people, I know they wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Money doesn't mean anything. It's like truth is what matters in this, and getting it out to the public.
You're not filming right now.
Yeah, I was.
Okay. So this has really radically altered your life, though, since you've had these ships and E.T. phenomena happening. Can you tell us some of the events that have taken place since you started this taping?
Since I started taping August 27th, especially the first month, was monitored by U.S. government vehicles 3 times. Where I live, this don't happen. Fort Taurus is Lincoln Continentals, little green decals. I went through pretty much emotional crisis the first month. My feelings is like I got a crash course on cosmic awareness. One second you never think about it, next second you're definitely not alone. I was really nervous with the evidence I had because I didn't know. I thought I had too much evidence, so I was very nervous with my original tape. And at the same time, my own family had a very difficult time, especially the first couple months, understanding my feelings that something was major was impending, and my obsession to get the truth out. They had a very hard time understanding it, so it was like I was basically on my own. Lost 15 pounds the first 3 weeks. I couldn't eat and sleep. I had to go to the doctor to get tranquilizers. Another lady north of town that had seen a globe that was directly over her house went through the same thing. Her own husband thought she was crazy, and she said that her husband, what happened to us too. This lady went through the exact identical things as me. Everything was so trivial except the wonders of nature and the universe, and we couldn't stand to watch TV. O.J. Simpson would make you sick to your stomach. It's like all your priorities change. It was basically a spiritual reawakening to the fact that there's a higher level, higher planes, higher levels of consciousness, and our human mind is being used so little. We can expand so much, and use these things to make the world a lot better place, and this world sure does need it.
How did your wife react to all of this?
My wife, she's been pretty much behind me most of the time, but like say she had a difficult time understanding all this because it was so unbelievable and so shocking. We had some strange things happening as far as paralysis and things like I was paralyzed for I would say 15 or 20 minutes, and it felt like I had a very vivid feeling of something warming or swimming up in my sinuses way up in, and like I was in a state of paralysis laying in bed. Lorraine, my 15-year-old daughter, she was laying in bed and looking at the alarm clock. She said she couldn't move for a half an hour. I don't believe this came at all from the main craft or cylinder. I think this was kind of an interference, perhaps by a lower intelligence or whatever, or some disinformation down the line. I think when something good happens, something evil tries to counteract it. I believe what's transpiring is a very positive thing that's happening for the world. The main craft, this craft could be advanced thousands, maybe even millions of years. I believe somebody that far advanced, could actually be beings of pure love. Get into the religious aspect. I think there's so much evidence in ufology that in spiritualism, ghosts, all this stuff is interconnected, that there's a tremendous amount of evidence that our soul never dies. There's tremendous hope in what we don't know that's out there that is going to directly coexist with religion. At the same time, this main craft, no matter how high they are up or whoever's flying this thing, they're no different than us. We've all got the same God. We're all God's children. So I believe that blank out.
That's good. Okay, short questions, just real short answers. How the townspeople treat you now?
The townspeople, most of them have been really behind me. There's so many people watching the skies. I constantly got phone calls, 3, 4, 5 a week. Somebody'd say, look out in this part of the sky this night, that night. The local press and radio have been behind me 100% on this. They've did the total, the full press releases. They haven't held anything back. There was about 6 talk shows on the radio on it. There's been a tremendous interest. They keep telling me, let us know what's going on, because we have a lot of people interested in your story and what's going on. It's something Salida really never thought about. We've had sightings, though, in the local paper going back 1895 and 1917. A preacher and a group of people back in 1917 reported wheels within wheels. And that's pretty interesting, because that's the same year as Fatima. It was the same week as Fatima, an event of Fatima. So anyway,
That's good.
okay.
How does the littlest one, your youngest daughter, how has this affected her?
Brandy, my 6-year-old daughter, well, she's 7 now, she had rented out a book at her school on UFOs on her own about a month ago, and on the front cover it had the Saturn-type globe, which you'll see the exact same image on that video I gave you as the book she brought home. Brandy talks to her school teacher about UFOs. She said nobody has teased her about it at school or anything like that. Brandy has spotted 2 other UFOs besides the main craft, one that disappeared right in front of her eyes. We were pulling out of the drive early morning. They had wings everywhere, and it was silver, flying up probably high, 40 or 50,000 feet. Went to pick binoculars up, and it disappeared in front of her eyes. She also seen lights 2 weeks ago, which I got on the end of the videotape. That's the night shot on there. Brandy was the first one to spot it too. So Brandy's been, she's intrigued by this, and she hasn't been afraid either. She's been great about it. If everybody could be like she's been, the world could handle this right now.
What would you say to people that are spotting these things or videotaping? Would you have them come out in the open and let themselves be known?
That's the only way anybody's going to pay any attention to us.
Okay.
Since I came forward.
What I need you to do is I need you to say something like, for all of you, for those of you out there that have something like this, I either would suggest you not doing it Or yes, you're going to come out, but you're going to get notoriety, you're going to get a lot of phone calls, your life will change, however way you want to say it.
Anybody out there with pictures or videotapes, and I know there's a lot sitting in closets and this and that, I would urge them to come forward. It's just changed my life in a lot of ways, but I would say a lot more positive than negative. I've met so many good friends, and I've learned so much, and this subject is so interesting when you start researching it. Until I came forward, when I came forward, it was an influx of people coming forward in Salida. It was like somebody came forward now, now that they don't act like he's crazy, then I can come forward too. This is the only way we're going to get the truth out to the world. To say, you know, it's like standing up for your rights. You know, the world has got the right to know this, and if people won't put a little bit on the line, then we're just going to stay at this stagnant level in between, and we're not going to be able to progress anymore. So I would definitely urge people to bring this stuff forward. There's a lot more openness by the public, TV and press, not to debunk this stuff, not to ridicule people about this, and if I had to do it all over again, I would be doing what I'm doing right now. Even though it's been a very stressful period and emotional, we've worked and put a lot of money into this and trying to get the truth out, but it's we wouldn't have it any other way. Me and the other people that are filming, Tom King in Phoenix, the Sun Phenomenon, we wouldn't have it any other way.
Do you think that the E.T.s are trying to send a message, and if so, what do you think they're trying to say?
I think the E.T.s are allowing their presence to be known. They used to be reclusive and selective. It doesn't seem to be that way anymore. They definitely want their presence to be known. I think there's a hidden reason behind that. It's important for the world. I believe, I'm not quite for sure what it means. It could mean that something major is about to happen to go along with the cosmic awareness, perhaps. A lot of things point to the year 2000, or, well, 1996 through 2000. A lot of, going back to the Mayan Indians in Mexico, the earth changes and cosmic awareness. It was predicted in 1991 with the total solar eclipse down there.
That's good.
Do you want it?
Do you want another one?
No, I was just going to say, do you want him to give an address and all that?
Oh yeah, say for those of you, and if you want to.
If you want to give an address for people who want to write to you or reach you, or if you want to give a phone number, I don't know.
I think I'll probably end up having to change my phone if it don't keep ringing every 2 hours.
Well, then maybe you might just want to give out an address so people can write.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I'll give an address.
Or you don't have to, you know.
Yeah, that's fine. I like to hear from people because it's a good way to get
You know, you could say something for anybody interested in the video that you've just seen or information further on it. You can contact me either by phone or by mail, however way you want to do it.
For anybody interested,
Go ahead.
for anybody interested in the videos we've been shooting or writing and correspondence with me, my address is 640 Rainbow Boulevard, Salida, Colorado, SALIDA, 81201.
One more time. Would you repeat that address one more time?
640 Rainbow Boulevard, Salida, Colorado, SALIDA, 81201.
Thank you.
Go there. Go there.
I guess I got the sun phenomenon enough. It's most everybody talk about that sun phenomenon. I talk to them down there. It's just like they don't believe a word you're saying. It's like, tell them, film this stuff. You can go.
Peggy,
go
scoot
film
over
for 5
towards
minutes,
me.
play it over.
There you go. Okay, and I just want to, okay, now scoot a little bit the other way. Okay, now kind of turn your face towards me. Okay, and I want you to pretend like you're talking. And you can move your head a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I saw the blinking sun one morning. just very, it was almost like there was a disc over the sun. And then its flash wasn't as brilliant as, wasn't as strobing that
Oh, well, you gotta keep going.
I
because
saw
that's
that,
cool.
because I could look right at it, and it was really interesting because it's all these
viewfinder,
different
it was just
colors
like,
and
it was just like it wasn't a video, it was just
Yeah.
boom. I was flashing the camera, and when I flashed over, then I stopped it right into the sun. I said, man, some guys, the sun's blinking. I'm the only one that's seen it. The viewfinder was just blinking, and I've hit the sun
Okay,
probably 100 times.
I don't mean to stop you, but I need you to stop talking for a minute. Because I'm shooting this over her shoulder and I'll at it as if she,
Do you want me to
Peggy,
keep
yeah,
talking
yeah, just
like
keep
I
talking
was?
and kind of bounce your
Yeah.
head a little bit.
Yeah.
And,
It was really quite, because I don't think anybody else saw it. And it was with a whole big group of people. And if they did, nobody mentioned it. But I said, did anybody see the sun do that? And I think maybe one other person. So I guess sometimes it's selective. And everybody there was very spiritual. So maybe it was just something for me at that moment, and it'll be for somebody else at another moment. But
It's pretty interesting, Area 51 of all places.
oh yeah, you didn't get that out, but yeah, that is pretty.
There's a